Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Goji Cento about the brand new Monsterverse Titan that was recently revealed. Say hello to, yet again, a brand new Titan X. The reason why I say yet again is because this name's kind of used, well, all the time. And go ahead and try to look up Titan X of the Kaijuverse. Those are at least 4 of them, including this one. But we're not here to talk about the name, no. We're here to talk about the Titan themselves. Now then, let's hop in. Yeah, disclaimer! It's in a sea.
Alright, folks, it seems like the Monsterverse is once again out of hibernation. And out of the slumber came not only the official trailer of the second season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, but also a new Titan. And from the looks of it, it's definitely nothing to sneer at either. And quite literally making the Ion Dragon from Season 1 look like a nuisance. So today on Goji Center, we'll go ahead and attempt to recreate this Titan by carefully observing it and using clues from the trailer, and see if we can pull off a more or less accurate reconstruction and breakdown of this new kaiju.
It's all speculative, we have no idea.
And hit that subscribe button, because the Monsterverse is back better than ever.
Oh,
we return where we left off from the previous season, the crew popping out of Axis Mundi through Skull Island in a specialized Monarch capsule. We were introduced to the king of Skull Island at the very end. However, this new season sheds light into an obscure piece of the Monsterverse timeline and the monster that fills this slot. Meet Titan X. Seemingly half cephalopod and half lizard, this is yet another tentacled menace in the roster of Monsterverse kaiju. The trailer gives us a vague explanation as to where this Titan hails from. We'll be covering this animal's appearance very soon, so just stay put. Not quite 100% clear on whether or not this animal comes from Axis Mundi or Hollow Earth makes no difference. But seeing how we are currently located in Axis Mundi in this shot, and having Titan X appear from below makes us think this creature just might come from even deeper. The way Hollow Earth works and how it's charted in the Monsterverse is really becoming a big mess, and harder to understand with each new Monsterverse installment. We started getting introduced to this concept back in 2017 during the release of Kong Skull Island, where the expedition crew verified that the Earth below was indeed hollow. This was once again touched upon in King of the Monsters, with Dr. Stanton making reference to the Hollow Earth and vile vortexes, underground pathways Titans use to get from point A to point B very quickly. We got extremely quickly, really. Godzilla vs. Kong when we finally ventured into Hollow Earth. Here's where this Titan might come from, but there could be a problem. How can an aquatic kaiju come from here all the way to the surface? Here's where it begins to get a little confusing. Monarch's Legacy of Monsters introduced us to Axis Mundi, likely between the surface and Hollow Earth. Down here, time works a bit differently. Spending days down here and resurfacing means you potentially missed months or even years in surface world time. As was the case with Keiko. But even more strange is the fact that this phenomenon does not happen down here in Hollow Earth. Characters can go in and out of this realm and not feel the warping effects of time, as was seen in GVK and GXK. This kaiju being a...
So, wait. Access Mundi, or however it's pronounced, may be having some kind of time dilation effect. Interesting.
Would likely have to come from a subterranean ocean. This body of water having a direct access through Axis Mundi and making this kaiju find its way to the surface. It's also not completely clear whether this kaiju can perform amphibious attacks on both sea and land.
We would have to find
seeing
out.
This kaiju breach Axis Mundi on land could indicate this thing can also crawl on the dry ground. Upon closer inspection, however, it is quite possible that this animal was buried under another landform in Axis Mundi, perhaps dormant under a dry mound of rock and awakened by an unforeseen phenomenon, probably instigated by humans.
It's
the
always
description
humans.
of the trailer does give us some insight as to where this kaiju will make contact with the surface. It mentions a mysterious village and the new Titan emerging at sea. So yes, one way or another, Titan X will breach Axis Mundi and haul its titanic body to the surface of the sea, perhaps even carving a portal himself through solid rock. Could he? Well, we'll find out in a bit when we talk about its anatomy.
God, I
If
want to
you're
watch
enjoying
this.
this video,
can't,
please
though.
take a moment to like,
I don't have Apple
subscribe,
TV.
and maybe even check out our merch store in the link below. All funds collected here get reinvested right back to the channel and shown to you on this screen. Alright, that's it. Titan X, as described in the video's description, is indeed enigmatic, and we are likely going to be seeing it little by little until we reach the big finale. First,
Obviously.
size. In the trailer, we saw the Titan swim above a whale. This clip likely added to
Classic
build
blue
upon
whale
the
as
statement
well.
mentioned in the trailer, which was that this Titan was bigger than Kong, and Godzilla shows that this Titan dwarfs one of the biggest animals alive to date. Many might be inclined to think that this is a blue whale, and it very well might be. But this could also be any from a vast number of baleen whales that share this silhouette. Fin whales, for example,
Oh, yeah?
are other species of whale that can grow to very large sizes, overlapping with the blue whale as well. If we
Oh,
entertain the idea that this animal is
Yeah,
anywhere
okay.
around 75 to 90 feet in length, conservative numbers for a blue whale, and on the upper edge for fin whales, we could be looking at a creature that is at least 600 to 700 feet in length.
Whoa.
And that's assuming this kaiju is right above the whale in very close proximity. It
Yeah,
could be
true.
larger. And since the trailer itself mentions that this animal is bigger than Godzilla, the G-Man or Kong could be looking at a pretty challenging opponent. And it seems like this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now we'll go over this
The
creature's
monster
weapons.
bug.
In a previous trailer, we actually got a glimpse of what its tentacles look like. Light purple and extending potentially a couple 100 feet each.
Not just that, but also covered in serrated and a hook-like bone protrusions. I don't want to call it teeth. It's very similar to how most krakens are actually kind of designed. Well, instead of having suction cups, except at the end, they have these. I don't know what the hell you would call them. So, it appears this thing is at least half kraken. And no, not kraken from the animated Skull Island.
These are covered in very sharp sides with serrated edges. If used in conjunction with its muscular tentacles, anything snared in these arms would get brutally cut, and if not armored, scarred with deep, nasty wounds. This is likely one of the primary weapons deployed by Titan X. But this is just the bottom part of its body. In the trailer, we are given a very rudimentary look at the whole of this Titan. A cave art image etched into stone reveals more or less how this animal's body is arranged. A large head with jaws filled with teeth, the latter part of its body being the 6 tentacles, and a set of dorsal formations along its back, including what seems to be some sort of split nose horn on the tip of the snout. This could be used for any number of things, as a weapon or even as a tool to aid in breaking through tough surfaces, like what we mentioned earlier to access the surface world. Moving to the top of the head,
it could also have some other kind of feature if it glows like that, and like maybe something to counteract and all the nuclear energy of like some kind of way of releasing an EMP pulse from the nose.
Trailer gives us a very interesting look at what's going on with its sensory organs. This Titan seems to have 2 pupils, and believe it or not, this is actually something that can occur in several species.
Yeah, even
Polyporia
humans.
is an extremely rare condition where the subject's eye can be characterized by more than one pupillary opening. There's
gross,
2
but it
kinds,
happens.
true polychoria and false or pseudo-polychoria. True polychoria is when you have more than one functional pupil, and they can either open or close independently or together.
Ooh,
This may
that's so
cause
freaky.
issues when focusing on objects, since this might affect how it perceives light bouncing off of objects or its surroundings, and may even blur its vision. If this is what we
That
think
is a
this is,
downside.
then we're looking at a handicap. But usually when there's a weakness, there is also a strength that counters it. Whether it's better alternative senses or an adaptation that allows this animal to detect objects in their surroundings with outstanding precision. If this animal is going to be a match for Kong or Godzilla, both kaiju with
maybe similar to the way some snakes or even sharks can sense electromagnetic disturbances in the water.
really good senses, then this Titan must have something hidden under the hood, and we're 100% sure it does. As it's described in the video description, Titan X is a living cataclysm, and it will announce its arrival. Many kaiju in the Monsterverse have attributes that extend the bandwidth of their destruction. Tiamat, capable of manipulating water and creating floods. Rodan with volcano agrokinesis. And not to mention Ghidorah's Category 6 hurricanes. This one could possess something similar. Mentioned to have bioluminescence, this thing is said to have power unmatched. So when it finally makes itself present, everyone will know. Both Kong and the G-Man. Looking at this cave painting, we have to reiterate the fact that this very well could be a Titan that crawls on land, since we do see these people be on the defensive. They wouldn't be holding their spears like this unless they think this fella might perform an amphibious assault. An even bigger question would be if Godzilla and Kong would even see each other this season, and the answer might surprise you. Nowhere in the film Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 did it mention that Godzilla never encountered Kong prior to these events. The events of this show might take place a bit before the year 2019 when Godzilla King of the Monsters took place. In the last episode of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, we left off in 2017, so a lot could have happened between these 2 days. Godzilla at this point had already gone through his evolution to become a bit taller, but perhaps not quite at his 391 feet height yet.
Yeah,
a tiny bit bulkier, and his dorsals had already changed from the straight jagged ones to the more curved shape in King of the Monsters. Kong is already much larger than when we saw him in 1973, measuring over 300 feet in height, and may or may not have reached his current maximum at 337 feet height. As it stands, it is likely that yes, Titan X will currently potentially outclass the G-Man and Kong, at least in mass. And also, the King of the Island just might catch a glimpse of the King of the Monsters in this season. Pay close attention here.
The island is the one thing that's kept him isolated. If he leaves, Godzilla will come for him.
Ooh, a few days later.
Did we change course?
No, we're nowhere near the areas you flagged.
Well, it looks like he's coming for us anyway.
Oh,
Note
crap.
that in Godzilla vs. Kong,
we took him
it was
off.
already known that Godzilla and Kong should not cross paths. They actively avoided it, but no real explanation why, besides the mention of them both being alphas. This sentiment towards each other had to have been instigated somehow, and we are finally looking at the possibility of us finding out why in Season 2.
Oh,
but
man, that would
there's
be great.
even more, and this is the part of the video where things get a little wild. But stick with us, because we have reason to believe that Titan X has some uncanny attributes in common with Godzilla.
Oh, yeah?
We are not saying that these two are related, but
No,
the
similar
similarities
power.
and the way this trailer portrayed the Titan strike as an attempt to make these two resemble each other in some way or form. The way its eyes glow blue, as we've seen Godzilla's eyes glow a couple of times already. The way it swims and
Yeah, I would say, of course, not related, but they definitely have similar power sets.
slithers its body is slightly similar to the G-Man. The dorsal formations on its back as well show some similarity, topped off with the description that this creature emits some sort of bioluminescence. Now, we also aren't quite saying that this animal is a hybrid between Godzilla and another creature either. But the fact that they both glow blue in some way or form suggests that perhaps they are powered by the same sort of energy.
That's
no
all
secret
thinking.
that Godzilla and other species can absorb DNA of other titans or feed from the same sources. Shimo, for instance, was a creature that also was going to look similar to Godzilla, and to some degree has lots in common. Almost as if some titan species evolution is inclined to converge into the build of Godzilla, or at least resembling some core attributes. So perhaps this titan's evolution may have followed the same steps, and setting the groundworks for yet another Godzilla-like titan to be—
Sorry, but I now have to say, we have that joke about how everything is evolving to become Crab. Does that mean that every titan is evolving to become Godzilla?
introduced later down the line. The upcoming film GXK Supernova can take any number of routes and adopt any explanation as to how a Godzilla from outer space came to be. But one plausible in-universe explanation could be that all Titan ecosystems bring forth a Titan with similar characteristics of Godzilla, either by an interstellar form of Titan convergent evolution, mutations from absorbing the DNA from other Godzilla-like kaiju, absorbing the same kind of energy, or both. This new Titan just might set the tone to prepare us for what is to come in Godzilla Kong Supernova, introducing us to the concept that Godzilla's form isn't just another monster, but perhaps the guiding compass and pinnacle of Titan evolution.
He's the ultimate like a crab! Oh, alright, that's the end. Alright everyone, well I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.